Is it going to say live?
Yeah.
Says you're live.
You're live.
Okay. So I wanted to start by saying that I wanted this chabur to be Lech Nishmat Rav Kalonimus Kalman Shapira, who was the Eish Kodesh, whose yahrzeit was a couple of days ago. Many of you were in Poland recently saw the horrors of the Holocaust. He unfortunately was murdered in the Holocaust, but he left behind an incredible legacy. Many of us learn his Torah every day. If you do Chovat HaTalmidim, he wrote that. So his neshama should have an aliyah. So I'm started at the base of the pasuk from this week's Sedra. Vayera Hashem el Avram vayom el Zarcha eten et haaretz hazot vayiven sham mizbeach laHashem hanireh elav. Now, if you look at this pasuk, especially if you're me, you think, wow, it's so Zioni, it's so Zionist, he's giving us this land. So I had to get out of Eytan Kleinberg mode and sort of try not to go down that route. And I looked at the last two words, Hanireh elav, and I kind of thought it seems superfluous. Why is it saying God? He spoke to God here, who appeared to him. It doesn't seem necessary. So the Ramban then gives us an answer to this question. And he says, because Avram built Mizbeach and he gave up a korban and he gave God a zevach todah. And that's the reason the Ramban says why God appeared to him specifically this time. So obviously there's a few different tracks you can go from this, but I found in the Chovat Al-Vavot he talks a lot about this idea of hakarat hatov, and it's a phrase that's thrown about showing hakarat hatov, being grateful for what we have. What does it actually mean? So it's a long source, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but he talks at the beginning about becoming regular, about becoming almost complacent with what we have. And he says the line, Ad sheshavu etzlam regulut. It becomes just their normal days. They're used to everyone having everything. And he gives the whole story of a child who grows up with everything, doesn't appreciate it as much as someone who maybe was in prison and then comes out and suddenly has everything because he's had it the whole time. He's used to it. And my Rebbe, Rav Milston, he says a line, which is that routine breeds complacency. And we can't fall into this trap of just because we do something every day or we have something every day, we can't be complacent. But I want to take it a bit further. We're very lucky. We're all sitting here in the old city in Yerushalayim. We all get to study for many years in yeshiva, many years in Israel. Everyone gets to do the army. We get to fight for our country, make aliyah. But we have a zchut that people might not realize, because I know in England, in Hammer, everyone goes to yeshiva. You go on a gap year. I hate the phrase gap year, but you go on a gap year. But we have to take a step back sometimes. And there's the famous phrase, Ezu Shira Sameach B'Chelko. What does it mean to be Sameach B'Chelko? So Rav Kotler, he always talks about the bracha of Ashayatza. And he says, do we ever stop to think about the words of Ashayatza? Do you ever think about what it means that every second, every breath we take is a gift? At any time we could, chas v'shalom, stop breathing. But God keeps our lungs working. He keeps us healthy. And he keeps us living. And we have to be grateful each and every second. But I think it's more than that. And from the Chovat Al-Vavot, he has a line where he says, he calls it chiyuv ha'oda'a alea, that people have this chiyuv to give thanks. And I think this is what the Ramban is saying that Avram did. That Avram it was the first time that Avram actually said, you know what, thank you, Hashem. It was the first time he gave a korban and showed zevach LaHashem. And that was the reason why Hashem came and appeared before him. And if you turn over to the pasuk from Tehillim, it's a very famous pasuk. Tov lahodot LaHashem u'lezamer l'shimcha elyon. It's good to praise Hashem and to sing songs to his high name. But what does it mean, tov? Does it mean that it's just something like it's nice? You learn a parak of Tanakh in yeshiva. It's nice. It's not so, you don't have to, but it's nice. It's a nice thing to do on the side. But I think what I learned from the Chovat Al-Vavot and from the Ramban is it's something more. In order to actually receive something in its fullest, you have to show appreciation for it. And I have a halacha seder with Daniel Ross. And just this morning, I opened Pnina Halacha, and I was just started a new one on brachot. And in his Hakdama, he's talking all about the mitzvah hoda'ah. And he actually says, going back a couple of weeks, that the chet of Adam Arishon was that he didn't show thanks to Hashem. Why? Because he had all these trees in Gan Eden, and he could have had from any of them, but he wasn't grateful. He wasn't grateful to have all the amazing fruit. He had to have the one thing that he couldn't have. And he says it's not, don't make any mistake. His Aveira was that he was not grateful to Hashem. And he's very strong in it. That is a mitzvah to show Hakarat Tov. And I think something which was very powerful for me is I found the last source and I realized, hang on, I recognize these words, but I had no idea where I knew them from. There's a famous song, Shalshelis Jr., if anyone knows it, Ilufinu. Yes, I'm holding in American music. But I could not work out where the words were from. And then I looked on Sfara. It's a good reference point. And it says Shachrit for Shabbat and Chagim. Does anyone know? Can anyone tell me what paragraph this comes from on Shabbat? Very good. That's because he's my Muslim Seder Chaver, so you know. It's from Nishma Kol Chai, but I realize this is just for myself. I could just be saying this and everyone else knows it off by heart. But the words, do we ever actually stop to think about all the words we say? Do we ever stop? If you read it, it's talking all about if we had all the ability in the world to praise Hashem, we still wouldn't have enough ability to praise Hashem. Do we ever stop and take a step back from our routine in yeshiva to sit and think, I'm in the old city, I'm learning Torah, I'm going to make Aliyah, I'm going to join the army? Do we ever stop to think it? It's just, we have an incredible zchut. And when Rav Targin gives British supper, and yes, I'm still invited to British supper, he says that put England into 100 people our age, 100 people. How many of them go to a Jewish school? From the Jewish population, probably 50, 60, say that. Then how many of those actually go to a frum Jewish school? Maybe 30, 20. Of those, how many go to yeshiva? 5 or 6. And then how many of those do, let's say, Shana Bet or make a good decision and do Aliyah in the army? Maybe 1 or 2. But really, if you think about it, that's 1 or 2 people out of 100 people. And we have an incredible zchut to be learning Torah right by Makom HaMikdash. We're coming closer to the Geula, and I think we should all try in our lives, just maybe when you wake up in the morning, take it upon yourself that today, when I say Moda'ani, I'm really going to mean it. I'm really going to show Hakarat Tov to Hashem for waking me up this morning, for giving me the ability to do everything I wanted to do in my day. Wow.